Welcome everybody, and before I begin I will do the Mangalacharan slokas. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु विज्ञेश्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदताम् ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजय आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी So I have been asked by Jessica to speak on this topic of toxic parents. And it is so rare, unusual, and what can I say, incidental that my mother is present right in front of me. So therefore I take her blessings, I give my respects to her feet before I speak. I have never spoken anything in front of her.
Is she saying? Yeah. Mommy. Haribam Mama.
So this is a very rare occasion, and although she does not understand English, but she is sitting listening to me. I have never spoken any or given any class or lecture in front of her, but somehow it's happening today. So I'm very fortunate to have her as my mother because I think she is a great mother, and I cannot forget my childhood, how she took care of us. You may be surprised to hear that we are 5 brothers and 3 sisters. So she gave birth to 8 children. Actually, 9, one died. And she took care of all of us, and she worked very hard and very kind, very loving, very compassionate, and very protective. I remember so many stories, but I think that's not the time to speak. But just because she's sitting in front of me, I wanted to give my utmost respect to her. So we as human beings, we are combination of two things. We have body and we have our Atma, soul, which is conscious. This is two things which combine and produce objects here in the material world, as Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavar jangamam kshetra kshetragya sanyoga tadviddhi bharatarshava. So all objects here, even those things which look material to us, like earth or rivers or mountains, from our modern perspective we think them to be just as inert matter, but actually they also have life in them. As you know that previously people thought that trees and plants don't have life, but science now accepts that they also have life. It has been scientifically proven that they also have emotions, they also express their feelings, they also get influenced by the people who are around them, and they can even communicate. There are certain trees, if someone comes to cut them, they actually send a message. So everything has a life, and that's why in India we actually honor rivers, we worship them. We call rivers like Ganga Mata, Yamuna Mata, Yamuna Maya, like Mother Ganga river, Mother Yamuna river, mountains. So they all have life, although it appears that they are lifeless. But the consciousness is not very much developed in them. The source of consciousness is there, but does not reflect in them because they don't have the senses as we have. So the consciousness develops maximum in human life. Animals, birds, aquatics, they also have, but it is most developed in human beings. But when a child is born, child is helpless, and of all mammals, human child is most helpless and most vulnerable. You all may have experienced with cats or dogs that when they give birth, after a very short period of time, the babies, they stand up, they walk around, they drink milk from their mother. Especially cows, we have seen, they stand up, then they start running. So, but human child takes maybe a year to stand up and still not walk properly. So, human beings need a lot of care, and this care is given by parents because they are the first caregiver. Unless parents die, sometimes the mother may die at the birth. There are cases like that, but generally speaking, for most of us, our parents are our first caregiver. And our development happens at two levels because we have consciousness and we have body. But in between there is an interface of mind or mental faculty. So consciousness, the source of consciousness is Atma, and as we have studied from Bhagavad Gita, that this consciousness does not undergo any change, any transformation. It is fixed. It is without any vikara or changes in it. But changes or development happen in our mind and in our body. And we need food for both of them. So we know that our body functions on food. In fact, our body is made of food. We know that as baby we were very small. We may have seen our photos in our childhood or when we were born, and then we grow up by eating. So this is the solid food or liquid food which goes through our mouth, and that builds up our body. But we also need growth of our mind or of our psychology or at mental level. And that growth also requires certain food. It does not happen if it doesn't get that food. And the food for our mental growth is love and emotional support. And therefore that is very important for our wholesome, complete growth. Otherwise what happens that our body may grow, but our psyche does not develop. And this happens if we do not have very loving, kind, supportive parents, which may be the case with some people. So then what happens that physically they are grown up, but psychically they are stunted in their growth. And that may not be as bad. The problem happens when the psyche gets bruised, harmed, or it is wounded. And that reflects, just as we do our physical work with our physical senses, like we walk on our feet, we grasp things with our hand. But these physical senses, they are controlled by the mind with our psyche. We walk and we talk. So our speech does not just flow like that. We actually first think. So in Sanskrit they say that artham buddhva vakti. That first we know the objects, we think about them, and then we speak about them if we have to say something. And this speech is a very important, very unique, very special faculty which human beings have. And this speech influences others also, because we transfer knowledge. It is because of our faculty of speech that human race has developed so much. If you see dogs and cats, then they are living their life as they lived 1,000 years ago or to 10,000 years ago. They are still the same, because they don't transfer knowledge. They cannot tell their children that be careful with these people or don't do like this, and if you behave like this then this happens. They don't write books, they don't give lectures, they don't make videos, Instagram, Facebook, nothing. So they just function with their instinct. And therefore a dog or a cat or a cow, they are born as they are born and they die in the same way. So they are 100% dog or 100% cat, and they are remaining like that. Okay, you may train them little bit, human beings can train, and they may learn little bit, but mostly they remain the way they are on the day they were born. Their abilities do not develop much. But human beings have a big, vast range of development at psychic level. Physically, you are going to develop according to your genes, the food you eat. It is going to, bring growth to your body, the type of hair you have, the color of your eyes, the skin, how much tall you will become, weight, how you will grow. So as in Ayurveda say that according to your nature of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, your body will develop accordingly. But mind, it develops according to the environment. So as they say that we have a certain nature and then there is a nurture, and both of them influence our growth. And this nurturing is primarily done by the parents. So this club is called Toxic Parents Club. So why toxic? Because if parents are good, then there is no problem. That's good. We are happy to have that. But when we have toxic parents, then it influences us. And I was just thinking on this word toxic as a pun, that if parents talk sick, then they are toxic parents. And because as human beings, as I said, that we get a lot of influence from our talk, from our speech, and if that talk is sick, then that's what we have, toxic parent. So speech has a very great influence on us. Even when the baby is in the womb of the mother, even in that state, baby gets influenced by the emotions and the words and the speech of the parents. And our scriptures, our Shastra, they knew it. We know the story of Abhimanyu, how he learned the art of breaking the Chakravyuh because his father Arjuna was speaking this to his mother Subhadra. We also know the story of Prahlad Maharaj, how he learned about bhakti because Narada was speaking this to his mother. So these examples are there in our Shastra. Now even scientifically they have done tests on this, that it is a fact. So as a child, the influence starts not only after birth but even before birth. And that's why in Hinduism we have various types of rituals, samskaras, to influence the mind of the baby who is still in the womb. But when the baby is born, then the influence is much more, because baby is having the senses and we grasp things from our 5 external senses called Gyanendriya or cognitive senses. And the baby also has them. So just as baby has a mouth and the food goes through the mouth, which is called ahara in Sanskrit. But in Sanskrit the word ahara means everything which enters inside you. Ahriyate indriyaihi iti ahara. So whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you touch, whatever you smell, whatever you taste, all this is food, especially for the mind. Because mind is linked to all the cognitive senses. Whatever sensations come to us from outside, the first thing is that they hit our mind. And then they are cognized. Then you take action. That's another thing, that whole the process happens. But in the beginning, as a child, it is like he does not, or the baby does not have so much things stored inside. It is not completely blank. It is not tabula rasa, as once upon a time in modern psychology they thought that the baby is just a clean slate. And that is because they don't believe in rebirth or past life and future life. But from our Vedic scriptures we know that we have had life from the past and we are now having this life. So we are carrying a lot of vasanas, the tendencies from our past life also. But they are more in like a dormant state. And we capture a lot of things as children. And till the time you cut your teeth, when your teeth fall down, the milk teeth, and you get your permanent teeth, by that age, which is generally 7-8 years, your programming is almost complete. You have taken most of the things for you, for your behavior, how you will live in this world, how you will interact with others. And therefore these 7-8 years of our life, they are very crucial for our personality built up, the type of personality we are going to have. And that comes primarily from our parents, because they are the one who are mostly around. And among that also, mother has the maximum influence. So therefore, in our Shastra it is said that Mata hi Prathamo Guru, that mother is the first Guru, first teacher, and then next father, and then other people, and then you may have your Guru. So Guru means one who gives knowledge, one who removes ignorance, which means who is actually putting program inside you. So that is the mother's very important role. And your father also is there, whose role is to discipline you. So they have different roles, and therefore they have different type of personality. God has made it like that. So this parenting therefore is a very important phenomena for human beings. But unfortunately in the modern times it is very much neglected. There is no training about it. Parenting is just like, you have to give an example that you want to grow some fruit trees in your garden, or you want to do farming. So you have to take care of it. You have to first know how to do farming. You have to have knowledge. You have land. You put seed. Seed has to be nice. So mother is like the field, and father gives the seed, and then the plant comes out. But when the plant comes out, that is not the end of it. It's not that you have given birth and now you neglect it and it will grow by itself. Of course, if you don't take care, the tree will grow. It will gather things from its atmosphere. But if you want to grow nice apples, nice prunes or plums, then you know how farmers, they take care. They supply fertilizers, water. They protect it from animals, from hailstorms. You might have seen in the West, they actually put a whole net on top of the apple crop. There may be, wild animals who can come and destroy the crop. You have to protect from them. So you have to protect it from the worms. So protection is given. So same kind of thing has to be done for the child also. So now it is very interesting that we have the word agriculture. Now if you see it from Sanskrit point of view, people may not agree to that, but Sanskrit has got that root in many languages. So agri, in Sanskrit we have agra, which means the first or primary, and culture is kulachar. That's why even in English you have the CU. Otherwise, what you is doing there? Why you are not saying culture? In fact, actually in some languages they pronounce it like that, kultar. In English it is culture. So actually this word is actually coming from kulachar. Why T is pronounced like cha? So why? Because as the humanity developed and family units came together, the kula means family and achar means tradition. And that was the first culture. The children learned. This is what Arjuna is speaking about in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the family traditions. And agriculture, because in the beginning there were farming communities. So their culture means their life support was agriculture. That was also their family tradition. All these other types of developments came later on. But in the beginning, as you hear all the time, that we were hunter-gatherers. But then the communities developed farming. They started doing farming. So that was the first, you can say, culture, farming culture. That's why it is called agriculture. But it's also related with the family tradition. So the same thing is parenting is also like agriculture. So we learn agriculture, how we do. There are books available and there is a whole science about it. Parenting is also like that. And that is how our scriptures speak about it. So in Hitopdesh it is said that Yannave bhajne lagne samskarona yatha anyatha bhavet. So just like when you make a pot from clay. So when you make a pot from clay, then it is soft. Then you have to cook in fire, and then it becomes hard. So when you make it, and if you make a certain design on it, when it has been just shaped from the clay, and then you cook it, then the design becomes permanent on it. After that you cannot remove it. Sanskaro na anyatha bhavet, means you can break the pot, but you cannot remove that samskara, that mark, that design. If you put certain color, like if you have seen these clay pots in India, sometimes they make some designs with colors. So this is all done before the pot is fired or cooked, and then it becomes permanent. So a child's mind is compared like a clay pot, and the way parents deal with the child, that is like making designs on it and cooking it. So as I said, by 7-8 years of age, then the pot is ready. So pot in Sanskrit is called patra, and patra means, literally patra means patnat trayate iti patra. So patra actually means which protects the object from falling down. That means if you pour water in a cup, it doesn't fall down. That's why it is called pot, because Sanskrit words are based on the function or the qualities of the object. That's how the names are given. And from patra the word pot has come. So the child's psychology is affected, influenced by the parents dealing with the child, and also how the parents are dealing with each other. If parents are fighting with each other, then this also influences the child. Then fighting becomes normal for the child, because the child does not know anything. Child is learning, and as I said, that you may think that the baby is lying in the cradle, but actually baby is very observant. You see how children are very fixed when they see something. Their focus is very deep, because they don't have much inside which can influence their thought process at present. That's why the children have a great memory. Because what is memory? Memory means creating deep samskaras, impressions of your experience. Deeper the impression, easy to remember that. And that happens by two ways. One is when you repeat something, then it creates a deep samskara inside you. Another is if you have a very deep emotional experience, happy experience or traumatic experience. So that goes very deep. It creates like a very deep groove inside you. And that is what is going to influence your personality later on. So if the parents are not taking care of the children properly, they are not giving good food for the body and good food for the mind, which is love, affection, the child feels very vulnerable. It needs protection, safety, security. The child has to feel that I am secure. And if that security is not given, and if he is or she is beaten up or chided, taunted, or statements are made at her, you are foolish, you are stupid, you have no brain. So now these things are just all going inside. And then the child accepts them, because the baby does not have any other standard. The baby has not come to the world yet. The baby's world is focused around parents primarily. So whatever, just like if you give anything to the baby, what does baby do? You give anything to baby, the baby puts it into the mouth. You may have noticed it. So it's same way, anything which the baby is seeing, hearing, These are the two main senses which work, seeing and hearing. So it is all going inside and being stored there. And because the child is dependent on the parents for survival, for security, then parents are like God to the child. Because whom do we consider God? God we consider as somebody who is powerful, who is superior to us, and who can give support to us. That's the idea. That's why people, when they are in trouble, they think of God, they pray to God. Because we have concept of God, that God is omnipotent, omniscient. He has powers basically which we do not have. The child also thinks like that about her parents. And he also sees that parents are doing things which he cannot do. So therefore, the first God for the child is the mother. And now if the mother is not treating the child properly, then you think that this is how we should be treated. This is the concept of love which gets ingrained in the child. Then later on, if somebody is actually going to give love to this child, he or she will reject it. They will run away from it because they don't know. This, in their definition, in their dictionary, love is not defined like that. They have their own definition. So we have two types of words. Words which have fixed meaning, like when you say table, chair, bread, butter, cup. These are fixed things. It's not that I have one meaning from the table and you have another meaning of the table. When I say table, then you understand and I understand the same thing. But then there are other words which have subjective meaning. When we say love, when we say anger, when we say sadness. So everybody has got their own idea of what is love, what is being happy, what it means to have good relationship, what it means to have good father, good mother. Everybody has got their own concept of it. And from where have these concepts come? They have come how we got the meaning of these words in our childhood. So if our parents were toxic, then their behavior, toxic behavior, will be taken by us as good behavior because they are God to us. And later on you grow up and you may understand that they were not so good, although that also does not happen most of the time. We keep on thinking of them as great, although they have abused. But you continue and then you do the same thing to your children. The things get passed down the chain. Why? Because that's how you have understood these things. So it's like our childhood is like we are writing our own dictionary. So as you learn language and you learn the meaning of the words, so we don't always, there are different processes of learning. So we also learned, one of the way to learn meaning of words is vriddha vyavahartasya. So shakti graha upman kosh apta vakyad vyavahartasya. In our Sanskrit we are actually taught how various ways we understand the meaning of the words, which is called shakti graha. Shakti graha means understanding the power of the word. What does table signify? So one way is you know from the dictionary, one way is your mother tells this is nose, this is eye. But we also learn many things just by seeing the behavior of our elders. So the child is sitting and the father is telling to grown up son that bring the cup. And the grown up son goes and brings. So now this child does not know what does bring mean and what does cup mean. But by listening this, he understands. And then he says, okay, bring the plate. Then he brings the plate. So then he understands, okay, bring means to do this activity. And this is cup and this is plate. Now nobody actually told him or her that this is cup and this is plate, but this is how you learn. So in the same way, nobody has told us what is love. Nobody told us what it means to be angry. These things were not taught to us. Okay, you are told your nose, your eyes, your tongue, your hair, all these kind of things. You go to school, apple, fruits, vegetables. But where do they teach what it means to love? Where do they teach what it means to be angry? Where does it means to be secure, affectionate, sad, all this? So these types of emotional words and these, subjective words, we actually gather their meaning by seeing others or by reading or by watching movie, and somebody is saying I love you, or somebody says I love chocolate. So then you get the idea that okay, if you like eating chocolate, that's what love means. So this is how you make your own dictionary. But if the parents are toxic, then your dictionary also has toxic meanings of these words. And then this has no problem if you are just limited to your family. But the problem starts when you grow up and you start going to school. And then when you are going to the school, then they are not your parents. So even if you had very loving and kind parents and they pampered you, my princess, my this, my that, now there is no one who is going to tell you princess in the school. You make a mistake and the children make fun of you, or the teacher may also speak harshly to you, and this comes as a shock to you. So now what happens that you have to protect yourself. So as I said, that we are a combination of two things primarily, that we have our consciousness which reflects in matter. So we have, wherever there is a consciousness, there are two things. We have a sense of I, and we have awareness of things around us. So therefore, as conscious being, we all have sense of I, and wherever there is a sense of I, it wants to exist. So we all have this existential tendency, which means I need to protect myself. And when my parents are not loving and kind, they are very harsh, they are very abusive physically, mentally, verbally. So I have to protect. They are meant to give me protection, but if they are not giving me protection, then what happens that I develop my coping skills myself. I'm forced to. And besides mind, God has also given us another faculty which is very unique and is not available in other species, and that is our buddhi, our intellect. So now the child has to utilize the intellect to cope with abusive parents. And those coping skills also are written in the dictionary, that if when father behaves like this, then you have to be like this. So then you learn how to tell lies, how to deceive, or you become fearful, you get into anxiety, you may start crying, you may get blood pressure high, all types of things, because body depends how the body is going to react to the abuse of the parents. Now when you grow up and you are dealing with people, so you are not dealing with abusive parents, but anybody who is on the authority figure. So then what happens that your impressions, they get triggered. And then in front of your boss, you may become that same little child which you are in front of your father. And the boss may be very kind and nice person, but it doesn't matter. Actually, his kindness may not make sense to you. So therefore what happens is that many times a girl will choose a husband who was abusive like the father. A boy will choose a wife who was abusive like the mother. Because that's the dictionary which matches with them. Their definition of love, security, affection, etc. is actually matching with that particular person. But that's not reality. That is not the reality. So our inner self, our inner being, is actually hankering for the real love. It's just like if you are hungry, then you need food. And in the name of food, you are given that, what is that, those sugar balls? What is it called? Cotton candy. So you are given cotton candy, and it is like big pile of cotton candy. So you think, oh nice, so much food, so you eat it. But what is it going to give? It's not nourishing you. The next time you are hungry, you get another load of cotton candy. Maybe, okay, it has a different taste. Imagine that your food is cotton candy. It may be salty, it may be spicy, it may be sweet, it may be sour, but so that's not nourishment for the body. The body will keep on hankering. But because you have been eating cotton candy all your life, now when somebody gives you a nice pasta or dal, rice, chapati in India, or pizza, so you will be actually in a dilemma. On one side you won't like it, on the other side actually it is good. So you will reject it and you will accept it. So this is what happens in human relations. Then somebody loves you, you want that love. So you want that pasta or pizza because that gives you nourishment. But at the same time, you are used to the cotton candy, that's sugar, cotton candy. So you don't want it and you want it. And therefore relations remain in tension. And it is not only in husband, wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, but in the office, wherever you work. Because you have to deal with human beings, and this scenario keeps on playing. So why it is happening like this, and you don't know that. Then you change the wife or you change the husband, and then you get another one. But it is going to be the same. And it works at the unconscious level. If there are 10 people, 10 young boys, and the girl is there, she is going to be attracted even without speaking. Because our psyche works at a subtle level, at a subliminal level, that she will be actually attracted to the boy who has the nature like the abusive father. So they keep on repeating. So this is what happens, that mentally you are not getting the nourishment, but if you get it, you are not used to that because it doesn't fit into your dictionary. And then you continue having, and then you don't know what is going on wrong. If your father was angry and abusive and was beating you physically, so you will have fear from authority figure. At the same time you will have anger, but you never got angry at your father. But then when some father figure will be there, then your anger will come if that person is doing something which you don't like. But you cannot show anger to that because that person is your boss or whoever. So then you come and show your anger to your wife or to your children. And they cannot understand that why is he angry at me, and he may even physically beat them. But the children or wife will not know, and he will also not know that he is doing anything wrong because he is just repeating what he experienced, and he never thought that this was wrong. If you ask this person, how was your father? He says, oh, my father was very nice. He took care of me. He educated me. He sent me to the best school, which may be true. The parents will do that. But beneath all this veneer is this hidden abuse, which he does not know. And that is because we have treated our parents at childhood like, respectable personalities, like God. So later on, when you grow up, you don't have the same kind of respect, but also you don't become so disrespectful to them. And you do not have the ability to realize that how abusive they were. And if somebody is going to tell you that, then you will not accept that. I have practical experience of that. They will say, no, my father was very nice, but when you start asking and going little down and digging, then they start becoming fidgety. They become nervous because they don't know, like their whole world starts collapsing. they have built a world around them. Everybody lives in their own world, which is primarily of emotions. And it is through these emotions that we interpret everything. But we don't see things very clearly. So this is a problem which arises from the toxic parents. And it is especially from the words, from the speech. There is a very nice sloka which Bhagavan Sri Krishna speaks to Uddhava. He says, "Ne tatha tapyate viddham puman bani sumarmagai yatha tudanti marmastha hi asatam parusheshavaha." He is comparing to the harsh, abusive words with a bullet. I mean, in those days, arrows. Now, in the modern time, we don't have arrows, but bullets. So he says that the words which are abusive words and a bullet, they both hurt. But he says that the wound which is made by the bullet is not as dangerous, as harming, as the wound which is made by the harsh, abusive talk or words, insulting words. Why is that? Because bullet only goes into the body, and you take it out, you can, go to doctor, take some injection, some medicine. It will be cured, and then you are normal. But the words which enter into your heart, they go directly into the heart, because they enter into your ears, to your mind, then they go into your chitta, they get stored there, they create samskara, and this stays there. Nobody has the power to take it out. There is no doctor which can pull out your samskara and just throw it away like the bullet. They can take out the bullet, they do operation and take out the bullet, but the samskara stays. And the beauty of this samskara, or the characteristic of this samskara, is that samskara does not rot. It does not become anything else. It remains what it is. So they say that time heals. But actually time does not heal. Time conceals. It will get covered up. You may forget it. But it remains. And it can act even in your next life. You may carry that tendency, that wound, up to your next life. Like sometimes people have some birthmarks. Why do they have it? That shows that there is some very deep samskara. It is so deep that the samskara is reflecting even into the physical body. Because our body is a manifestation of our karma. And karma is stored in this form of this samskara. So therefore, this behavior of the parents among themselves or with you, this is what shapes your personality, and this is what builds your character. And this keeps on troubling if we have not been treated with love, affection, we have not been given emotional support, then this goes on. So now, is something to be done about it? Can we do something about it? Or shall we do something about it? Because some people say, past is past. Why are you trying to dig the grave and bring out these dead bodies? No, these are not dead bodies. These are alive programs inside you. And they are the one who are controlling you. Just like you see now, good example is robots. So how does a robot work? Robot does not have a soul, but robot is working just like a human being. Why? Because it has programs inside. Now we as human beings, although soul is there, but we are also run by these programs which we got in our childhood. We are actually just like robots. Whatever we have been programmed in us, then particular situation triggers particular samskara. Just like the robot will hear a sentence and then he gives an answer. How does he give answer? He has been programmed. that okay, somebody says this, then you reply like this. There may be many options given to him, he will choose from that, but it is actually done like that. The same thing is happening to us. So if we want to change, if we actually want to be happy, because that's the purpose of life, it's not that we just exist. Existence has a purpose. Why do I exist? Why do I have the tendency to exist? I have a tendency to exist so that I can be happy. It's not that I only want to exist, I want to exist happily. Therefore, even a child, he, as I said, learns coping skills so that I don't have to feel pain. I don't want to get beaten up by my father. I don't want to get chastised by him. I don't want to get mimicked. I don't want to get made fun of. Nobody likes that. So then I develop my behavior, coping skills, how to avoid these things. And then I keep on doing it for the rest of my life. So I have to get rid of these things. These are program, but they are actually virus. So just like we have a computer, and if there is a virus in the computer, then it spoils the whole computer. So if I want my computer to function normally, then I don't need a virus in it. So similarly, we have good programs in us. It's not that everything is bad. Our parents also did many good things to us, and we are thankful to them. But they may also have put little virus inside us. And now, as grown-up people, we have to recognize those viruses and we have to get rid of them. And for that, we do not have to hate our parents, because the parents also did it mostly in good faith. They were not trained. As I said, that there is no training. Previously, at least in India, there was some training on these matters because there were joint families. So original training came from Shastra and then it was also passed down. But now we have so-called nuclear families, husband and wife or girlfriend, boyfriend, they live together. They don't have any standard to see how, when we have a child, how do we have to take care of the child. They don't know anything about it. Now the only thing they can know is Google Guru. You go there, which is also good. There's a lot of knowledge available there. But people also don't do that. So it is just like that I have put seed in the field and the crop is coming, but actually I am watching TV. I am going on picnic. I am going on vacation. Like many parents do. They have produced children, but then they are busy on their own mobile phone and they give one to the child also. Okay, beta, you also be busy with it. So now he is no more your child. In modern days, actually the children are not the children of the parents. They are more the children of Elon Musk or whoever guy, Facebook or YouTube. They are the one who are programming them. So we need to protect them if we want actually them to become nice, moral, ethical, pious beings. So we have to teach them what is empathy, what is compassion, what is love, what is affection. And this only parents are going to teach. No YouTube channel is going to teach that. No Facebook is going to teach that. And we all agree that these things are needed in the society at the present. Why there is so much violence and so much cheating and so much deception and so much crime? Why so many rapes are happening? Because we may blame that, these people are doing like this and they are doing, but actually the root cause is lying in the parenting. So government is spending so much money on police, on making laws, then enforcing them, administration to enforce them. But actually if they can spend even 5% of that much money to train parents, these problems will be solved. And we have solutions for this. We have books, we have programs. So this club which Josika has started, it should be attended by people. It will do two things. One is that it will help you to understand yourself, and if you have had such toxic parenting, then how you can rectify that? It's not that you cannot rectify. And second, that most of you may be parents or may become parents in future, then it will help your children so that the same mistake which your parents made is not passed on to the next generation. So you will do actually such welfare to your own children, and they will thank you, they will love you for that. Now parents become old, put them in old age home. Why? Because children don't like them. But my mother is there, she is 90 plus, she is sitting here happily with the whole family. She has sons, grandsons, great grandchildren, 4 generations. She is happy. But imagine she was in an old age home. That's why people get dementia. Why is there this problem of dementia? She remembers everything. She remembers my birth dates. She remembered what happened when I was born. I was talking to her. Her memory is so sharp that I don't have that sharp memory. Why? Because she did not live a life of neglect. She is surrounded by loving, kind children, sons, daughters, family members. So why she has to have dementia? Dementia is also a coping skill our system develops. It is so painful that your own children don't want to keep you in your own house. They don't want to see you except when it is Mother's Day, Father's Day. Why this Mother's Day has been brought into picture? Because people want to sell certain things. Basically there is consumerism behind it. So, but for us every day is a Mother's Day. Every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. So, I think our time is up, so I'll stop. Thank you very much for listening patiently. Okay. Anything else is to be done? Jessica, you want to say something?
There's a parenting survey that we wrote together that they should take.
We have made actually a parenting survey, and it is available freely.
Yep. Parenting on the top of the website.
So on our Vedic Psychology Institute website,
At the top it says parenting.
there's a heading on top, parenting. So you can go click and take the survey. So this will give you an idea about your own parenting.
And it shows your personality type.
And besides that, in this book they talk about 4 types of parenting. So along with that, we have done that which type of parenting brings what type of personality. That is not in the book. So we have developed 4 types of personality which come out from these 4 types of parenting styles, and we talk about those personalities also, and we have given them Sanskrit name. One is called Swastha. So there are 4 types. After 4 types, 3 are toxic and 1 is the normal. That authoritative is the good type, and it gives to a child who will be Swastha. Swastha means healthy. And then other 3 are toxic. So the other one is authoritarian. So that brings Toshaka, which the person is like trying to please everybody else, but inside is very happy and is a control mechanism, dissatisfied. Then there is the parent who is neglectful. So you got a Shunya. Shunya basically means void. The person feels all the time void inside, empty, lonely. Loneliness is a big problem. And then there is a 4th type, which is Swarthi. This is by the parents who are too permissive. They say, okay, do anything you want to do, they don't care. So then you become Swarthi, which means self-centered, selfish. You take everything as an entitlement. I deserve everything for me. Narcissistic tendencies come. So these are the 4 types. So it is good. I think it helps, and you can give your comments so that we can improve if something is not matching or you think it's wrong, because just we made it up. So with this, I take leave. Thank you.
स्वाध्याय जनरल पार्ट 1 बच्चों के लिए.
So this is we have a school in Faridabad, That's where I am right now. And the school actually has, our children, they all know their personality type, and they do this kind of swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means self introspection or introspection. So every day they have to do it, and we have many techniques for children, made programs for them. So every child actually, by the time goes out of the school, knows what is my swabhava, my nature, what kind of intelligence I have, which kind of field is good for me to go into, whether I should go in engineering, medical science, writer, music, sports. Because it's not that previously it was that if you are not good in science, you are stupid. If you are not good in maths, you don't have brain. No, it's not true like that. So we encourage children to do all these things. There are many other programs. We have developed a whole education system which we call a Jiva learning system, and it is very, very successful. Children are very disciplined, and they learn so many things about themselves which is not taught in any school. We also have a Swabhava survey for adults on our Vedic psychology website. Okay, thank you.